Ding.
Okay, Gary, I'm just going to have you say and spell your first and last name for me.
Gary Hollis, Garyllis.
Gary, as I understand, you're a professor, correct?
That's correct. Professor of Chemistry, Roanoke College, Salem, Virginia.
Awesome. And you're from Bessemer City? Am I saying that right?
Bessemer City, North Carolina.
Awesome. We love that.
Town with a heart.
That's great. How long have you lived in Virginia for?
I've lived in Virginia since about 1988.
Oh, okay.
I
Wow.
lived for a while in Williamsburg, and currently, since 1995, we've lived in the Roanoke Valley in Virginia.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about this experience. So you've always wanted to go on Jeopardy, right?
I have. I mean, since I was a tiny tot, I'm sure all the people who knew me growing up knew I liked to learn stuff and know things, and that has continued my entire life. I read a lot. I like game shows on television. I like to compete in academic competitions, pub trivia. I'm the academic coach of Roanoke College's quiz bowl team. So I get a lot of time asking and answering questions.
Awesome. And did you watch Jeopardy almost like every day, or?
I have watched Jeopardy. I watched Jeopardy as a child when it was on in the 60s in black and white with Art Fleming.
Wow.
As the old host. But I was a kid on the floor, and I still liked it. But it was rebooted by Merv Griffin in the mid 80s. Alex Trebek took over and was the host for most of the show. And I wanted to be on that show. So I tried out over and over and over again, took their test many times, got to the in-person stage of the audition 5 or 6 times.
Oh my goodness.
And finally broke through with an offer to be on the show this past summer. So in summer of 2021, I took the online test again. You take the online test. If you do well enough in their estimation, they don't tell you how you did. They contact you for a follow-up test, which they proctor. So you go onto Zoom with a bunch of other people and take another test while they're watching you. And if you do well enough, they invite you currently to a Zoom interview. So I had a Zoom interview with, I tried to remember, but I think 8 other potential contestants. And in that in-person via Zoom interview, you played a couple rounds of Jeopardy, a few questions of Jeopardy. They had you make sure you waited until you saw a signal, and then you had to pretend you were ringing in. They wanted to make sure you were quick enough to keep the game rolling. Again, I'd made it to this stage 5 or 6 times before. I felt really good about this past interview. And then in September, mid-September, I got a text message from one of the contestant coordinators on the show that said, "Hey, can you talk sometime?" We were in the middle of quiz bowl practice, and I texted back immediately and I said, "How about right now?" And we talked, and he offered me a spot in the first ever Jeopardy Professors Tournament. And it was just a wonderful experience.
Amazing. That's amazing. So I know that you won, I think, 20,000. I'm not quite sure, right? Monday, or what was?
So I played in the first round of the tournament, the first game of the tournament. On my show, I won the game. Now, the way it works in a tournament structure in Jeopardy, you don't win the money that you win during the game. So all the professors, all the 15 professors who appeared on the show and played at least once got $5,000. If you won or moved to the next week, which I did, you get $10,000. If you make it to the finals, you win again next week and you make it to the last 3. Third place is $25,000. Second place is $50,000, and first place is $100,000. So
amazing. So
I'm not allowed to tell you how I did.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I play again next Wednesday night. So if the people in Piedmont want to watch me again, I'm sure the folks in Bessemer City will be tuning in. My Facebook has been blowing up with all my former classmates and friends. Bessemer City was a wonderful place to grow up. Just a fantastic place for anybody to grow up.
How does it feel representing, that your hometown in North Carolina?
I'm so pleased to be able to do that. Of course, I went on Jeopardy because I wanted to have fun, but I also like the fact that all my friends and classmates and folks I knew from home are just excited for me. It feels wonderful when you feel people are supporting you. And that is what I have gotten on Facebook. I've gotten overwhelming support.
That's amazing. Tell me too, it must have been surreal for you standing on that stage, tell me what was going through. Were you like, oh my gosh, pinch me moment? Because you were a little boy sitting in front of the TV and here you are now. It must have been amazing, right?
It was, I don't know how else to say it, was, it's a culmination of 40 years of wanting to do something. And the stage was very impressive, very interesting. When we weren't playing, we were allowed to watch the other games being played. So we were allowed to be the audience. Since we're in a time of COVID, everybody is masked at all times, unless you're up on the stage. When you're up on the stage, that was the only time we were allowed to take our mask off. But being up there with two other people playing the game, having a host like Maya Bialik, if you haven't watched Jeopardy, you should watch Jeopardy just for Maya and Ken, who are, they're replacing Alex Trebek. Let's say they're not replacing him, but they're stepping into that role. Maya Bialik is just so bright, energetic. She brings a positivity to the Jeopardy show. It's fun to watch Jeopardy because of her brightness.
Oh, awesome. Good. That's amazing. Okay, so next Wednesday, we'll see if you move on or not. And what do you want to say to the people back home?
So what I want to say is, I can't think that I would have had a better childhood and teenage years than growing up in Bessemer City. I had parents who loved me. I had supportive family members who were living next door. I had the outdoors as a kid to run around in. I had a school system where every single teacher I had seemed to care about whether or not I learned. So I had great teachers. I'm not going to mention every single one of them by name, but those of you who are still out there and hear this, please know that I'm grateful. I got to play varsity tennis at Bessemer City High School. I got to be in the band and be the drum major. It was a great experience. So all my hometown people, thank you.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Good luck with everything. We'll definitely be watching.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Bye.
Bye.